Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kind of hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in to alternate ending. Tune in to alternate ending. Tune in to alternate ending. Tune in to alternate ending now. Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternate Ending, where we're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm your host, critic and resident, Tim Brayton. Joining me through the magic of the internet is our casual moviegoer, Carrie Jarosinski, and I don't actually know, Mandy, did we ever give you a title?
Currently, I'm your non-moviegoer for various reasons that have happened, but I don't think I have an official title.
Our woman in Florida, Mandy Albert.
Indeed.
It is the start of a new year. Happy 2023 to all of you listeners out there in podcast land. And to celebrate the start of a new year, the tablet is being wiped clean. It's a fresh, new, fallen snow of movies to come out and enjoy. We decided this would be a great opportunity to look ahead to the year that will be coming and share our thoughts about what movies we're most excited about. So it's our sort of 3 films per. I mean, top 3, but, just 3 films that we're all looking forward to. So that's going to be what we're talking about in this episode. But on the subject of new beginnings, Carrie, I believe that you have joined me in the company of being someone who owns a new computer, and therefore this Zoom call felt attached to a whole lot of unnecessary stress and anguish. How are you doing with your new computer, Carrie?
How does it look like I'm doing? I'm still in my pajamas, and it is 7:30 p.m. here.
You see, I assumed you were already in your pajamas, not still in your pajamas.
Oh, I should have probably said that. That was a better way to go. No, what I'm actually realizing right now is that I am in my pajamas, and then I'm like, did I brush my teeth today? Also an unknown. I'm gonna go with a yes, just for the sake of.
And this is why we're all on a podcast together.
Right, on a podcast. It's been a day. This technology, when you get a new computer, it's literally the worst thing. All of the passwords that I don't remember are gone. All of the settings that I don't know how to use are unset. And I feel as though it's like a good 6 months for me of just sort of pure technological chaos. So that's where I'm at right now.
So here's my life hack. You write down all of your passwords and the websites they're for and leave it on your computer in a Post-it note. And that time, anytime you're in public and you're like, what's my Amazon password? You can just flip it open and it's right there where everybody can see it. So you can log in, no problems.
And it works even better if you leave your computer like out in the open in the public library or like in a crowded bus terminal or somewhere else where there's a whole bunch of strangers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And make sure it's clear. Like, I don't want to get confused by it. So I do say like bank account password : Carrie 123.
And
you could throw your PIN number in there too.
And the last 4 of your social.
Yeah.
Just in case you forget it, you need to call up the bank. They can help you figure that out.
Absolutely. I mean, I still have to ask Rob what my social security number is all the time. So I will be doing that. So I really appreciate that takeaway, that sort of self-care tip.
I think so.
We are here only to serve.
That's right. What else is going on? I got this computer. Didn't you also get a new crank?
It's a new-ish computer. I'm not made of money, so I had to buy a used computer when my old computer, which was also used at the time I bought it, died prematurely, because that's what happens when you live the exotic life of someone who only buys used ThinkPads. But I do have a new computer, and it makes me very happy, and it runs Linux, thank you, as you pointed out, Carrie, much faster than the old one ran Linux, so it's all going very well. Spent a long, stressful evening installing the new stuff on the machine. Set my dissertation writing back by a day or 2, which is also something that was a sort of nice extra benefit, because it's always nice to have reasons to procrastinate from writing my dissertation.
It is.
That's all. And Mandy, I assume, just to carry the pattern, you probably have a new computer too.
I do not have a new computer. My computer recently celebrated its 7th birthday, and aside from having to replace the keyboard, it is still going strong. I solved my computer-related problems by just making my husband fix all of them.
Ah.
For example, when I got this computer, which is also a ThinkPad, I handed it to my husband and told him to get rid of all the stuff that had come pre-installed on it thanks to Microsoft, which he did. And he also took out the crappy hard drive and put in a new one, and it has worked like a charm ever since.
That is love.
Except when the backspace key stopped working.
I had the backspace key stop working on mine, and then that's not why I got a new computer. I lived with that for about 2 months.
I did the same. Then, again, my husband ordered my computer a new keyboard and just installed that. So now the keyboard works again. The keyboard is no longer full of dog hair, which I believe may have led to the demise of the backspace key.
It happens.
Here's my question about used computers. And mine is also a used. It's a refurbished computer as well. But here's my question. As a user of the computer yourself, and you know where occasionally your fingers have been, and then you know that you occasionally type after you know that your fingers have been in places, how often does it cross your mind where those places have been on the fingers before you got this computer? Do you think about that, or is that just me?
Well, not until now I didn't think about it.
Those cracks, you know?
I'm going to assume that they give it at least a brief wipe down.
Okay.
Just to make sure that there's not ass juice all over my computer.
I wasn't talking about ass juice.
Make sure there's not pussy juice all over my computer then, whatever you were going for.
Comic Ship steps into that one, and I deeply, deeply, deeply regret it.
But also, Carrie, as the mother of 2 children, have you not just accepted at this point that your life is a petri dish full of unspeakable germs? Have you not just resigned yourself to that fact?
You know, I toggle between, like, I am inherently, like, wired to be a messy person, but as an adult, I realize that order does lead to, like mental order for me. So it's, like, sort of like, I try really hard to keep things kind of tidy for that reason. And then other times I'm like, F it. Like, the socks aren't getting picked up. I'll close the door to their rooms. Like, I don't have to look at this mess. There's always going to be Cheeto powder, like, in the cracks of my seat of the car. So, like, I'm 50-50 acceptance and denial, I would say.
This is particularly pertinent to me right now because it has been a very long month and a half for many reasons. But the big one is that for about a month and a half, I've been the only member of my household who hasn't been sick. Because I have a 2-year-old who, because he's in daycare, is always sick. And then my husband, probably thanks to said toddler, got a sinus infection that lasted for like a month and a half. Oh. And so somehow I have managed to avoid everything. But since at this point everybody seems to be on the up and up, my guess is that my own immune system is just waiting. And the second everyone has recovered, I'm just going to get Ebola or something.
Well, we're very happy that we're recording this episode now and not in, say, 5 days' time.
Indeed. When I will be dead from Ebola. So it's been very nice knowing you.
It would make it very inconvenient, and we appreciate that this will be your last public appearance. So,
Indeed.
So thank you.
I'd like to thank the Academy, and...
I definitely find that when I'm stressed out for a long period of time, because I have responsibilities to live up to, such as potentially, if I had to do it, which thank God I don't, caring for sick family members. As long as I am continuously stressed and nothing throttles back on that, I don't get sick. I'm just perpetually well. But then the minute that I have a couple days to just relax,
yes,
just all of the germs that had been accumulating in my body over that period of time just land. Fortunately,
your immune system's just it's time. We're done.
Exactly. Luckily for me, I don't anticipate not being stressed until at least next November.
I was going to say, you're working on a dissertation, which means that your baseline level of stress is...
I'm in the end game on the dissertation. I'm on the academic job market. I'm putting a class together. It's amazing that I can keep food down without my entire body just
I was going to say,
it.
When do you eat?
Infrequently, for sure. to a very distinct, not negative for my health and well-being.
Thoughts and prayers.
And it's great because I haven't had a good night's sleep in like 3 weeks, so life is good. But I'm not sick.
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
The other day, remember?
What was that?
Remember when I came to your house? You had a great night's sleep because
That was what happens when I don't have a good night's sleep.
Andy, let me tell you what happened. I basically logged a core memory the other day, which was great.
Okay.
Because Tim and I were getting together for a little date, and we were going to be doing some stuff, meeting to talk about some AE stuff, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, show up his door, knock, knock, knock. Or no, sorry. I think I led with the like here, but then I always knock because that's rude not to get out of your car. So then I like meander up to the door, knock, 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 nothing. And then I was like, oh, maybe I need to do the hard knock where I open the screen door. And then I was like, oh, knock, knock, knock. And then I'm like, I'm going to wait a little bit. And then the phone call, no answer, goes straight to voicemail. And I was like, he's dead. I was like, he's dead on the floor and I can't get in here. And he's having a heart attack. I go to immediately to worst case scenario. I'm like, I could get in there. I could save him, but the door's locked. What am I going to do? I go to complete panic mode.
Please tell me you called the fire department and they broke down the fire department and they broke down Tim's door.
Worse, I was trying to get a hold of his mom. So then
who, for the record, my mom had already had a similar arc of trying to call me. My stupid ass new cell phone that I've had for like 8 months at this point, so it's not even new. I don't know how to not make it go to Do Not Disturb. So it goes to Do Not Disturb. I basically set it at this point so all phone calls and all text messages go through the Do Not Disturb filter, so Do Not Disturb basically doesn't mean anything at this point. But it went to Do Not Disturb, so you tried to call, my mom tried to call, my boyfriend tried to call, my friend Will tried to call, none of whom got through to me.
Did any of them try to contact your mother?
My mother was 3/4 of the way from their home in suburban Chicago to Madison by the time I called her to tell her that my phone was on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, I thought...
Was she coming to check on you?
She was coming to check on me, yes.
Oh my God.
In his place, because she also knew that there was a likelihood that he was dead. And so, again, what guilt would I have to live with if he was sort of like half alive in there and I drive away and they're like, all that I was playing out was they're going to be like, time of death, 10:57. And it was like, I was there at 10:55 and I walked away. And so I was like, great. Like, this is all going to be on me because I should have got it in there. He inhaled one of those puffy Cheez-Its that you guys both like, and it got trapped in there and I needed to get in to do the Heimlich. Like, all of these scenarios run through my mind.
Tim, is this because you were asleep?
This is because I was asleep.
Oh, well, that's good.
Because I had rolled around with insomnia until 5 a.m.
Oh my God.
And so all of the meetings and shit I had starting at 8:30 a.m. didn't happen because I didn't wake up until 11:15.
Yeah. But we found him.
So that's the thing. This story ends with I still didn't get a full night's sleep. I still only got 6.5 hours of sleep, despite my body like shutting down in protest.
You need to sleep. So
I do want to mention though, since you bring up the Cheez-Its.
Yes.
We were talking about the Cheez-Its before we started recording. I did some searching, Mandy. It turns out that the Cheez-Its Snapped, which is what you were talking about, and the Cheez-Its Puffed, which is what I was talking about, 2 different products, but if the Snapped are as good as the Puffed are, they must be pretty damn good because the Puffed are really good.
Oh, the Snapped.
Wait, they're different things?
2 different products. I verified this.
Huh. This is good.
So there are 3 families of Cheez-Its. There's also like Cheez-Its like double fried or something like that, but like not counting those.
Amazing. This is just good.
We live in the best of possible worlds.
We really do.
This is amazing. I wanted to share that I've also been losing some sleep because I haven't been able to talk to you guys because I've got some questions on how I should handle my life in the next 72 hours. I went to Sundance a few years ago, as you both know.
Yes.
And it was a horrifying experience of anxiety and stress and near panic attacks, hives, like the whole thing. Like,
okay, and now you're a pro.
Right. I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I was like, I'm older, wiser, wrinklier, like less judgmental of myself. I'm excited. This year I'm going to go in. I'm not going to feel any of that. And
because you are going to Sundance tomorrow. Right? I don't think we actually mentioned that part.
Sorry, I am going back to Sundance, and this time I'm like, I'm gonna own it. You know what? I'm a lady with a new haircut. You know what? I got a new flannel. I'm just gonna own this whole place. I'm gonna do it. And then just a day ago or so, Rob was letting me know my lineup of people that I need to ask questions to while I'm there. And one of them is Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
Good.
The next one is Jason Momoa.
Okay.
And the only thing that is coming to my mind is talking to her about the nudity and love and other drugs or whatever. I don't even know the title of the movie she was in, that one that she was in with Jake Gyllenhaal. What if I just talk about that movie because I go blank and the only thing I can think of is like, hey, was it really awkward to be in those scenes with Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie?
You could also talk to her about her nudity with Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain.
Exactly.
This is not helping.
And then you can tell her your Brokeback Mountain story about how Brennan talked to you about using lube or spit as lube.
Yes, and that was thing for me. Oh my gosh.
See, you'll be able to tell her about how her movie changed you in important ways.
She'll love it.
I am starting to sweat. I have no idea what to say. And then I was also
here's where I think you should lead with that you think the bald cap in Les Mis was too much.
I haven't seen Les Mis. I don't like musicals.
It's true.
So what? If I have one question that I can give Anne Hathaway, if a moment comes along and she's like, you lady in the flannel with that fresh haircut, what do you think? What is your question? What would you ask? What should I say? Like, legitimately, I actually have no idea.
Well, you have already seen the movie that she's there to promote by the time this happens.
Oh, so you think I need to ask about the movie?
I think it will give you a crutch that you can rely on. If you, for some reason, feel that personal attacks about her look in Les Mis are off the table, then
okay,
that's a you problem.
Okay, alrighty. Jason Momoa, anything there? Hair? Do I give a hair compliment? Anything about tattoos? Do you avoid that? I'm feeling flustered and overwhelmed with what to say to him as well.
I would ask if I could lick his chest.
Oh, okay.
That seems like a good icebreaker.
It does. We sort of talked about this off the air, but I want to just reiterate in front of everybody to put you on the spot, Carrie. I think Jason Momoa is a big geek. And I think if you said, Jason Momoa, we have a movie podcast, why don't you come on our movie podcast? You'd be like, I love movie podcasts. And he might show up on our movie podcast.
That seems like a great idea.
I think you should do that. Don't do that with Anne Hathaway. She seems stuck up.
No. Oh, really? Okay. I think I'll feel that out. I'll bring my cards and then I'll just put it out there and I'll see if I can get him on with us. We'll see what I can do. I'll say we're nerds too. That's what I'll lead with.
Tell him that your buddy Tim thinks that Aquaman is better than literally every single film in the MCU, and I thank him for his contribution to cinema.
Okay, my 1 minute. That's what I'm going to say.
That's what you should say.
Brayton.
Tell him that his appearance in Dune Part 1 was the first time Duncan Idaho has been an interesting character.
Also
Come
true.
get me, fanboys.
Message me all these. I'm going to forget. Message me all
Will
of
do.
these. Okay. It was all a bag of lies. I am a stress ball just as I was before. And I just realized nothing.
You don't say.
Yeah. I plan to come back with many, many horrifying stories, and I can't wait to share them with you.
I'm so excited.
I think we leave Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we're there until the 24th. So it's a lot of days of movies, a lot of days of interviews, pressure, and all of that stuff. So more to come on if I survive that experience.
A quick pro tip. I don't know if you are in the habit of writing your questions down beforehand, but when I recently interviewed Mr. Isaac Nabwana of Who Killed Captain Alex fame for this here very website,
Yes.
I wrote down my questions and then realized as I got to my final question that I could not read my own handwriting and had to admit this to him on air as I was trying to puzzle out what I had written. So please, use your very best handwriting for your notes.
That adds charm, and it shows that you are a human who is interviewing him, and I think that's lovely. So I wouldn't worry about it.
He was a tremendously nice man and very forgiving.
That sounds almost exactly like how I fucked up my most recent job interview, and I hope that they are as forgiving as he was.
If they are in academia, I promise you that they are not.
I was afraid that was what would be the case.
I was about to boost you up. I was going to be like, Tim,
No.
it's worse than you think. I'm sure.
Anything that involves relying on academics viewing our shared humanity in a way that causes them to want to reduce my suffering will not bear fruit.
As a refugee from academia, I refuse to lie to Tim about this process.
Thank you, Mandy.
He appreciates that. I love lying to him. And
Everybody has tried to blow smoke up my ass except for two people, you and my partner who is in academia, like not as an academic, but in the bureaucratic side. And so this gives me strength.
Well,
Continue applying for jobs because I will not be getting this one.
I will be there to bring you down anytime you need it regarding academia.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm just feeling better already from this tough week. I hope you all are.
That's good. Look at it this way: no matter how stressful your week is, it does not involve your feeling that your future itself is being flushed down the toilet in front of you, which is how I felt the last 2 days of last week. So
true, and it's similar to what I felt in the movie that I just saw just yesterday. That involved a possibly CGI doll. I don't know. I'm unsure.
It is hair and makeup with a CGI sweetening up job.
Okay. Tim,
is this M3gen or however we're supposed to say it?
It is. I didn't know that until you said it just now, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was like Megan or something.
It's Megan. They say her name like 600 times across the course of the movie.
I do. I tried to zone out a little bit while I was there, but. Yes. And Tim, I'm very excited to hear. This was the one that I planned to bring for my worth mentioning, but I'm excited so much to know that you've also seen it, because the minute I walked out, I thought to myself, what will Tim think? Like, is he going to be like, oh, I love this. This is amazing. Or is he going to be like, this is garbage? And I have a feeling that I'm going to call it before you say it. I'd love to know. I think we will agree on this movie.
Okay, I am going to put up a number of fingers, and that's the number of stars I gave this movie.
Set me off right now.
And I'm going to remove my hand, and this is the number of stars I gave this movie, which you would know if you followed me on Letterboxd.
I do. I just haven't followed much. Okay.
I know what's behind his hand.
So Mandy, you are the arbiter. Mandy, you're keeping us both honest.
Right,
I know what you gave this movie on Letterboxd, Tim, but I have not seen Carrie's rating.
Okay. 3.
2, 3.
They are both holding up 3 fingers.
Perfect.
I am very excited to hear this conversation.
I did feel a little bit like we were flipping each other off. I gotta be honest.
I also kind of felt like you both were.
Because we were both like holding up 3 fingers, like facing each other in the way that you do when you're flipping somebody
But
off.
I was also like, if one of you brings down your other hand and is flipping the other off, it's going to be Carrie, just for the irony. I am excited to hear about this because I was hoping to see M3gen within the last couple weeks, but illness-related circumstances prevented me from doing so. The only movies I have seen recently are 2004's Catwoman, which I'm writing about for Raspberry Picking, and The Aristocats 27 times because it's my son's favorite movie right now. So I don't like movies anymore. And,
but you're having a
I'm
good
excited
thing.
for this.
You know what you should watch? You know what you should watch?
What should I watch?
You should watch Tom Hooper's Cats.
You're right. I should watch Tom Hooper's Cats.
It's a theme.
Again.
It's a theme going on.
It clearly is.
And if anything will reignite your love of cinema, it is the greatest film of 2019.
It's true. You're not wrong.
By Tom Hooper.
But anyway, Megan, tell me about Megan.
I want Tim, you start. I want to actually hear from you what you think of it. So
I thought it was a fun time. I think it is definitely being overhyped, although in the particular case of the 3 people on this Zoom call, Mandy, I think you will actually really dig it. I think it will hit you where you live in some ways.
Excellent.
So the film is basically it opens with this married couple and their little daughter driving in the terribly blinding snow, and they hit a plow, which they infuriatingly refer to as a snow truck, which is not a phrase I've ever heard in my life, and I was already ready to storm out of the movie.
Was this movie made by South Carolinians?
Something like that, I don't know. But so they're hit by the quote-unquote snow truck, and they die. So they're dead. But the little girl's alive.
Not a spoiler. First 2 minutes of the movie, 30 seconds of the movie.
It's not a spoiler because it happens to start. So they die, and the little girl ends up with the mother's younger sister, who is an executive at a tech/toy company that basically reinvented the Furby, and this is somehow perceived in the industry as being like a radical new thing to have done. But point being, the Furby-ish doll exists. It's this use an iPhone to talk to your Furby and feed your Furby, and that sounds horrible, and yet
yes,
it does sound like the sort of thing that would sell very well, which is the conceit within the film. So the younger sister, the now foster mother of the legal guardian of the orphaned daughter, is working on a new object, the Model 3 generation android, I believe is what it's called, and she calls it Megan for short.
Congratulations, writers, on your deliciously contrived backronym.
Best kind of sci-fi writing in my mind is terrible backronyms. So she's been trying to create this like essentially amped up talk to my buddy but with an app doll. So like a Star Trek level artificial intelligence whose sole function is to be a sort of stupid doll. It's great idiot premise. I love it. So Megan gets created. Megan gets demoed, and the executive who's working on this is like, oh great, I have a 9-year-old girl right now who I can just like force to interact with Megan. It'll keep me from having to do anything motherly because I hate children. And the only big problem I have with this film script, there is a hint that the father's parents are willing to take the girl, and she's like, no, you can't do that, even though she clearly hates the girl. And I whatever. So she gives the girl Megan. Megan has one, in grand robot story fashion, one objective, which is to protect the little girl from all emotional and physical harm. And if this means murdering animals and or people who are in any way inconveniencing the girl, Megan sadly did not get programmed with the 3 rules of robotics because the executive was in a rush. So Megan starts killing people. And isn't that something?
Indeed.
Did I miss anything, Carrie?
That is it. That is the movie. It's essentially like a female Chucky. It's a little bit.
It's female Chucky. It is straight up the 2019 remake of Child's Play, but about a girl's doll rather than a boy's doll.
So I will say, this is a PG-13 horror movie that is in theaters in January. And thus, according to the fundamental laws of the universe, this movie should absolutely blow. And what I am hearing from both of you is that it does not.
It is a fun time. It is the best January horror movie maybe ever.
All right.
I agree. January horror is the absolute nadir of cinema. Some of my least favorite movies of the last 10, 15 years came out in January as horror films. This is a good time. It's being overhyped. I think there's no question that it's being overhyped. But it's fun. The acting is pretty good. The sort of weird theme about like, hey parents, you know what you should probably not do? Raise your kids with an app.
Yeah.
That's surprisingly smart and effective, I think, the way it's deployed in this movie. Megan herself is a really good mixture of, again, practical, some makeup, and CGI, so practical and effects work. I think the parts that got like viral on TikTok are ironically the worst parts of the movie. Like where it becomes like Megan dances, haha. It's like, well, that's stupid. But as a sort of like lightly comic PG-13 thriller in the middle, I think it's really got the goods. I had a good time watching it.
Somebody should sue something over the trailers.
I mean,
the trailers made this movie look wretched, and I realize that is standard operating procedure for trailers at this point.
At the same time, like the audience who needed those trailers showed up. This movie made a ton of money, and
it's true.
I agree with you.
To stay in theaters for one more week so I can actually go see it in the theater.
I hated the trailers very much, but people in the world liked them, so I can't even fault the trailers, even though they made me think this movie was going to be a piece of shit.
Well, people in the world are bad, and I guess you have to dance with the partner who's coming at you.
Also that. But Carrie, what did you think of the movie? You gave it 3 stars, or 3 fingers at least. But
yeah, I think I thought it was similar, where it was like, this was actually really fun. And I think my worry going into it was, since it was the same director as Malignant, I was like, since Malignant was a pile of garbage.
Well, it's not the same director as Malignant, which he came up with the story and he produced it.
Oh, okay.
But no, so that's why it's not nearly as good as Malignant.
Yeah, well, and I thought it was going. So I'll tell you what. During the preview, I was like, okay, is this going to do the same thing as Malignant, where it's sort of like cheesy and whatever it was in the beginning, and then it takes that turn where it's a total tonal shift. And so in the preview, when you see her doing that, like cantering like a dog or whatever thing in the woods, where she like controls herself and then is all of a sudden like running on all fours, I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be the Malignant turn where it turns campy and weird and is like, all the cinephiles are going to be like, this movie's amazing, and I'm going to hate it. Like, that was my feeling. And none of that ever happened. That little, like, scene was just like one thing, and then it kind of jumped back to the same thing it was doing before. So I got tons of laughs. I thought it was really funny, and at certain parts I liked the commentary. I thought the acting was pretty solid. I think it left out, I saw it with a group of friends, and afterwards, some of them had some issues with it, and it was kind of the thing where there were a lot of plot holes. It's like, oh, do you know how corporate America actually works? Or like, oh, do you know like how the system would work if her parents actually died? Like, she would have got, like, those kinds of nitpicks that didn't really make sense.
Also, the answer is no, because these are Hollywood people, and Hollywood people have never, not once, actually known how corporate America works.
I was going to say, if your takeaway from this or any movie is like, I don't believe it was sufficiently attentive to the bureaucracy of corporate America, then guess what? You have probably made a better movie than the one the nitpicker would have written.
That is fair. But again, it was like those kinds of things. They were like, I don't think they didn't care about any of that. They were just focusing on it all. Again, I think it's worth seeing. I thought it was fun and unexpected. I thought it was fun and unexpected. So
I am extremely looking forward to this.
I think you'll dig it. It tracks with other movies I know you two have liked.
Excellent.
All right. Well, are we jumping to the Aristocrats, or Tim, what are your thoughts?
We are not talking at all about the Aristocrats.
Yay.
No, we are talking about the Aristocats, which is a Disney movie about talking cats. Mandy, tell us about it.
Oh, God. Well, I've memorized it at this point. So those of you out there with children, especially with small children, know that oftentimes the way that small children watch movies is that they want to see the same movie over and over and over. Previously, my almost 2-year-old son's fixation was The Sound of Music, which is at least a very good movie, though it is also a very long movie that completely loses its momentum after the Nazis show up. But he mostly wanted to hear the Do-Re-Mi song and the Lonely Goat Herd song over and over and over again. But then I let him see the Aristocats, and now he is obsessed with the Aristocats, and I feel like I have failed as a parent somehow, because I keep trying to get him to watch other better Disney movies, and he does not want to. He simply wants to watch cats over and over again.
I think what you fail to appreciate is that everybody wants to be a cat, because the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at.
Tim, that song has been stuck in my head for about 6 weeks straight now.
I'm pleased to have given it another few hours. Just a little jiggle in there.
Thank you.
It's a terrible movie, to be clear. As a professional Disney expert, I hate the Aristocats a little bit, so I feel very sorry for you. And
there are parts of it that my brain knows are kind of stupid and not very good that I do find somewhat charming. I am weirdly charmed by the British tourist geese. I find those in particular
I'm going to chalk
amusing.
that up to Stockholm Syndrome.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
Have you tried exposing your child to 101 Dalmatians?
I have.
Didn't take?
Maybe we should try again. It's been a little while.
It's better than the Aristocats.
Yes, it is. I tried Tangled. I tried The Princess and the Frog. I tried Snow White. I tried Beauty and the Beast. I tried Lady and the Tramp.
No, I mean, you got to work the talking animals in a sort of contemporary setting thing. I mean, that's probably what's happening.
It's true.
Try
and
Oliver and Company.
No, I am not replacing this with Oliver and Company. I refuse.
That's worse, is what you're saying.
It is in fact worse.
Oliver and Company has one, not even really redeeming feature, just one feature that I can tolerate, which is the song Once Upon a Time in New York City. And beyond that,
that's it.
It is basically a worthless film, as far as I'm concerned.
Have you tried Fievel? Fievel Goes Home, or one of the Fievel movies?
An American Tail? He's won, Carrie.
Wait, is that heavy? Is that a heavy watch?
It is. I saw that movie when I was 4, or maybe I was 5. I think I was 4. I was about to become 5. Fall of '86.
Mouse.
It's good. It taught me all I know about the attack on the Russian Jewry by the Cossacks, and
I was going to say,
like a better person for knowing about that.
I was going to say there are pogroms in this movie, aren't there?
Are you concerned about your son being aware of the realities of the world that you're just trying to protect him from? Like, these are truths.
I mean, he's pretty resilient, all things considered, but he's also one.
I mean, we're not saying you should show your child Shoah.
Among other things, I feel like he'd probably get bored with some of the
I mean,
Hilarious. This is so. I'd like to point out he's one, but you did just list through like 17 animated films that you attempted.
Yes,
one.
I'm starting early.
That's right. Teach him early. You're gonna develop a little Tim.
But
there.
also, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my goal, honestly.
oh,
Oh, that is.
I don't even want a little
Like, I
Tim
don't-
around the house. How brave of
okay,
you.
okay, let me clarify. I don't want him to get a PhD. That would be a problem. But if he becomes a total movie nerd, that would be fine.
How old is he going to be when you start letting him watch Bellatar films? Because that's the real tell.
He might have to find those on his own, but I'm going to make them easy for him to find. Let's put
Okay.
it that way.
Sort
I
of
am
like
going
when like a father leaves like pornographic magazines, you're just gonna
I'm
kinda
going
leave,
to
like
I'm going to hide
Verkmeister
my
harmonies.
I am going to hide my child inappropriate DVDs and Blu-rays in places where he will be able to reach them if he wants to. Let's put it that way.
I think that is a good parenting strategy.
I am also my final thought on the Aristocats, because there's really not that much to talk about with regards to it. It's kind of a brainless movie, and it's kind of an ugly movie, and
It's kind of a racist movie.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the live-action remake of the Aristocats that is actually a horrifying animal mouth-moving CG remake of the Aristocats, where Duchess has to learn to check her privilege, and where it's a really big deal that this time the Chinese cat is played by an actual Chinese person.
Do we know? Is there such a thing coming out?
I hope that I have made this up,
I mean,
but I'm gonna Google it now.
there's for sure going to be a live-action version of the Robin Hood where they're all animals.
What?
That's
They're
happening,
already-
100%.
There are already live-action Robin Hood movies.
None where they're animals, though,
There's a good reason for that.
because civilization was not yet ready, as civilization will be coming soon.
You guys are listing all of these movies. Does that mean that these are potentially coming out in 2023 and could
No.
be the most
No.
movies, maybe?
The Aristocats is an upcoming American live-action CGI animated romantic musical comedy adaptation of Walt Disney's 1970 animated feature film of the
I
same name.
kind of thought they'd announced it.
There is no loving God.
Who's on hand to write and direct?
Hold on, let me find out. Will Gluck and Keith.
Oh, eat my asshole!
I don't know who these people
Oh, I
are, but
do.
apparently you do.
So, well, tragically, Mandy, you cannot put these on your most anticipated of 2023. It's not coming out until probably 2024, maybe not even 2025.
It claims the anticipated release date is 2023.
Well, then
But-
maybe you have to rejigger your top 3 most anticipated.
I will not be doing that. No.
Okay. Well, what do you have? What are the films you're looking forward to?
Oh, are we starting that now?
Let's go ahead. That's
All
my
right.
attempt at a transition.
Okay.
I'm not Rob. I can't be graceful about it.
Rob, I actually attempted it about 15 seconds ago, and everyone just blew right past me. So,
I didn't
Your
hear
audio
you
keeps
attempt
blinking
it.
out.
Your audio's blinking out again.
that's why. But Tim,
But yes. So yeah, what was that, Carrie?
I said we'll take your transition then.
So yes, now that we've stomped it into the mud. So Mandy, what is your third most anticipated film of
My
2023?
third most anticipated film. This was tough because as I was looking through the lists of films to be released in 2023, there was not a whole lot that tremendously excited me. There were a few things where like individual aspects of them excited me, where, for example, the great object of my lust, Keith David, is going to be in a movie, but nothing else about the movie looked all that good. So it's not on my list. However, my number 3 most anticipated movie of 2023 is Oppenheimer.
All right.
So
What, Carrie?
The oil guy?
he's the
no.
nuclear bomb guy.
Oh, different.
He's one of the nuclear bomb guys. So here's the thing. This would not normally be a movie that I would be highly anticipating. I am not a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I'm generally not a big biopic fan. However, my husband is really excited for this movie. My husband is a big physics nerd. He is in particular a big nuclear physics nerd and related areas. He knows this entire story. He's very excited for the movie. I am excited to watch it with him.
Okay, because I was going to say,
I could describe.
So your husband will not shut up about this film,
No,
and
it's
that
not
makes
even...
you more excited to see it.
No, it's not even that he won't shut up about it, because that's not really his thing. It's just that I know he's excited for it, and we don't go on movie dates that often anymore. I watch most of my movies alone now just because of the child. This is going to be one that we do an actual movie date for, so I'm looking forward to the actual movie less than I am looking forward to what will be the experience of watching this movie. I also did find out, as I was reading about the movie in anticipation for the podcast, that Jack Quaid, whom I primarily know as the voice of Ensign Brad Boimler on Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the only one of the new Star Trek series worth anything, is going to be playing Richard Feynman, and I am very excited about this casting choice.
All right. And I do find it fascinating because, like, the only reason I'm even vaguely interested in this project is the Chris Nolan of it. I'm like, nothing about this seems remotely like a movie. But hey, if Nolan wants to make it, I trust him because I am a Nolan guy.
Yeah,
so.
Christopher Nolan's usual, like, I don't know, kind of nerdy, try-hard, beat you around the head because you're confused directing doesn't really appeal to me that much. But I trust him to make movies suspenseful, and I feel like that's going to be the thing that makes or breaks a movie like this.
Excellent.
And this wasn't on your list, Tim.
It is not. It is not. Because, again, the Chris Nolan of it is the solitary thing that is hooking me in. I gather it was also not on your list, Carrie.
It was not, but my next one might be, or my first one might be. I hadn't heard a single thing about it, but when I was doing all of my thorough trailer watching and research, this is an animated one. And I am like the easiest sell always for a Pixar movie. I'm like, you just know me. You have my number. You know exactly the beats that you need to like make me laugh and cry and walk away an invigorated human in this planet. And so I was like, it's also Pixar. And I have been like itching. I've been watching I haven't really been itching. I should complete that sentence. I have been itching for a romantic movie because I feel like all I've been doing is watching horror lately. All scary, all horror. So this is a romantic animation from Pixar. And this is Elemental, coming out in June of 2023. Did you guys see this?
I've seen the trailer for it, yes.
I have also seen the trailer for it.
That's why it's number one on your lists.
That's why it did not even threaten to make the short list.
No, I thought the trailer looked a little bit meh as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about it for those that don't know. The film sort of journeys along an unlikely pair, Ember, who is, I think, a flame, and Wade, who might be a wave. Is he like a piece of water?
Because it's water. Because it's earth, water, air, and fire are it's Inside Out, but for earth, water, air, and fire.
I love Inside Out. That's what I'm hoping for. And so all of these people live together, maybe in harmony, maybe not. We don't know. But the fiery young woman gets kind of going with the wave man, and they go on a train, and it looks like there could be some cute sparks. You know, wink, wink.
And then they try to kiss, and then they die because they're fire and water.
And
then the credits roll.
I believe, to quote everyone's favorite 1950s musical, The Pajama Game, they got steam heat.
Let's not quote that again.
But I mean, it's going to be pretty steamy.
It
is the thing.
It is going to be.
Do you get it, Carrie?
They get some condensation, you know?
All right, I hope she gets real wet.
I don't. Oh, okay. Let's leave it here. I don't have the fortitude. I just hope that the trailer wasn't great and that the movie ends up being sweet and adorable and inventive.
Trailer not great, movie is great is a long-standing tradition at Pixar, so I think there's at least a chance you'll get what you're hoping for. Pixar's on my list right now. I thought Lightyear was really bad.
It was so bad.
Lightyear is a you have to earn it again Pixar. I'm putting you on notice, and apparently large swaths of America did as well because Lightyear was a bomb. But I need to see a good Pixar film before I will start expecting good Pixar films again, if that makes sense.
Just try to harness what I do. I try not to think about it. I try not to hold them forever, hold it over them. I try to think about Toy Story.
Did you see Lightyear?
I did. But again, I have this whole thing that I do where I like things that are upsetting and tragic.
Did you like Lightyear?
No, I didn't. I put it in a box and I put it away so I don't have to think about it. And then it'll
Okay.
every couple months when the box overflows, and it's very sad.
Okay.
So
Because
I
I spent $35 to buy Lightyear on 4K because my brain doesn't work. And I'm like, well, it's a Pixar
What is
film.
wrong with you?
I better own it on 4. I'm a scholar. I'm an animation scholar.
Is it melting your brain? Is it literally melting all your decision-making power? Oh my gosh. You hate it and you buy it. I can see you doing that.
Not the first Disney-produced 4K of a movie that I hate that I own.
All right. Well, what, Tim, was not Elemental that is on your list at number 3 that you're excited?
Well, you briefly got me excited because you started talking about animation. I was like, I have an animated film at my number 3. And I will say I'm being just a real big ol' fanboy with my list because I have multiple sequels, and this is one of them. It is a sequel to one of the handful of movies made in recent years that I would straight up say changed the medium. It is a major work of animation to me. I am referring to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, or rather Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is getting its sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, in June 2nd. I'm sort of taking this one on faith, which is why it's only at number 3. Nothing that's dribbled out necessarily tells me this is going to be anything better than, or maybe even as good as, and we still really haven't seen any footage from the new film yet. Like, the trailer was 3/4 made up of footage from the first film. But Sony Animation right now is doing really exciting stuff. Even though I hated Mitchell's versus the Machines, or I didn't hate it, but I thought it was not good. What it's doing in terms of animation is really exciting, and we're sort of in a good space for like people starting to try to test the edges of what you can do with CGI animation. And I figure these are the people who made the first Spider-Verse. They're not going to just coast. They're going to try to do something with it. So what that something is, I don't know yet, but I'll find out in less than 5 months. But yeah, so I am very excited. Again, sort of more for the idea of Across the Spider-Verse than for anything that I know to be true of it. But I need it to be good. If it's not good, it's going to be really bad to be around me for a couple weeks.
It looks like it might. It could be, and I think I didn't because it was the sequel. I don't know. Something about it just felt like, could this really be as good as the last one? It just feels so hard to follow. So I just...
It does.
Again,
but I mean...
negative. It could be amazing. They could ump the ante. You never know.
Fingers crossed that we get the Avatar Way of Water to Spider-Verse's Avatar 1.
And this is not on yours, Mandy. You did not.
It is not on my list. It crossed my mind. I did not love Into the Spider-Verse as much as a whole lot of other people did. I understand why other people really loved it. I think for me it's just like, and I had a lot of fun watching it when I saw it. I just never really had a desire to see it again afterwards. I think I have basically negative attachment to the Spider-Man universe, and I think that probably impacted my
That's legit.
viewing of the film. But I hope for your sake, Tim, that it is good. I want it to be good for you.
I want it to be good for me as well.
And Mandy, at number 2, what do we want to be good for you as well?
This is a movie that I do not care whether it is good or not. I want it to exist and be out yesterday. And this
is good.
And this is Cocaine Bear.
Oh, I saw that one and I wanted to put it on, but I didn't.
You should have. You should have put it on.
I have 2 better ones. That's why. Gosh.
What do you need to know about it? There's a bear. It ingests a whole lot of cocaine.
Here's my question.
Hijinks ensue.
How do you insert the cocaine in the bear? And I assume they didn't actually give the bear cocaine because there's probably PETA rules against that. So if that's the case, how do you make this bear go wild?
I mean, my understanding with the actual bear is that it found a duffel bag of cocaine out in the wild and ate it.
Oh, like it is really on cocaine for the movie?
Well,
no. The actual
bear
it's
was
based on a
cocaine.
true story. Yes, a bear was on cocaine, and that's the story of the movie.
Oh.
I am choosing not to find out how they have replicated the cocaine bear because I do not wish for the magic of cinema to be ruined for me in this case.
I think this is going to be good. I think it's going to be real good.
I am not certain that it's going to be good, but I also don't care.
Yeah, I assume it's a CGI bear. I haven't really looked into it, but perhaps I'm wrong.
I kind of assume it's a CGI bear as well.
Yeah, this will be the next big meme movie after Megan. So we shall see if it lives up to the hype and the virality as well as that film did.
I have not seen Elizabeth Banks's other directorial efforts. I have heard many things about them.
This is a reason why I am much less excited for Cocaine Bear than I wish I was, because I am familiar with the oeuvre of Miss Elizabeth Banks.
That is a shame. I love Elizabeth Banks very much, though again, I am not familiar with her as a director.
She's a great comic actor. No
I'm going
question
to choose to believe that this is where she will find her stride as a director, and that this movie will be brilliant. But once again, even if it is not, I don't care. This is Cocaine Bear. It's going to be great, one way or the other.
I feel like that is what they should put on the ad campaign. Is it good? I don't care. Cocaine Bear coming soon to a movie theater near you.
Yes. It even kind of rhymes.
It does. I get that. That's good, yeah.
Agreed. Well, I also have one that I think will be similar but different, Mandy, because I also think that most of the people in this movie will also be on cocaine. And I do think cocaine. I can't even say the word. I can't even say the drug. Cocaine. There's going to be people on cocaine. And that, I think there's probably some bears in here. I don't know. This movie, I would have never even thought about watching the trailer for, because I would have just seen the title and I would have immediately been turned off. But said friends that I had in town this weekend that have, higher quality video what? Like VHS taste than I do. But better movie taste than I do, were like talking about it like crazy, about how they were so excited to see it. And I was like, really? Is it really going to be good? So all that did was made me like watch it, like watch the trailer, see what it's about. And now I'm excited. I'm really excited because, in fact, I am not a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world, but I think this one is going to be fantastic. And there are
going to be a lot of people on cocaine in this movie.
All 100% of people are on cocaine. That's Margot Robbie. This is like a really, really wild cast. So it's like Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, of course, plays Ken. Margot Robbie plays Barbie. Helen Mirren, who of course plays Barbie as well, I assume. I don't know. She's in it as well. But like Kate McKinnon is this for the laughs. Will Ferrell, Michael Cera. This is Simu Liu is in this too. Like, it's just a huge cast of people that I really like. And I watched the trailer and I think it's going to end up being so much more of a commentary on just body culture and body image, and how like kids get pushed all of this rhetoric when they're like 5 years old, when you hand them like an emaciated doll and it's like, this is what we're all supposed to look like, and how that I'm really, really interested how they're gonna shift or take that commentary, on top of probably just being hilarious and fun and all of those things. So yeah, I have Barbie on here. I'm just like, now I'm really excited about it now that I've read and watched about it too. I think it's going to be
here. Here is how good the trailer is. The trailer that's a sort of parody of 2001. The trailer is playing in front of Avatar, which I went to see for the second time with my father over the holiday. And after that trailer played, he like turned to me and whispered in a sort of a very confused and even alarmed voice, "Is that movie going to be really good?" Because like that's how much the trailer works. Because it's a really good trailer. Like that is a peak teaser trailer.
Yeah, totally agreed. And it's Greta Gerwig, so I really, really, really love her. And so she's directing it, and then Noah Baumbach and she have written it. Are they married?
I don't know if they're married. They're definitely a domestic partnership.
They are, so they're together. Okay. So yeah, I've just liked stuff that they've done in the past, and I'm really, really jazzed. So for folks that are on the lookout for it, it comes out in July. So we've got a little bit of a wait, but in July, I'm calling a Barbie party. I think we all bring our favorite Barbie, which I don't have anymore from when I was a kid because I threw them all away. And I don't really buy my kids Barbies, but we will do that. Mandy, I was thinking as I put this on here, if you were a Barbie girl when you were younger.
I had my share of Barbies.
You had some Barbies. What if you had one Barbie? Did you have a standout? Were you a beach Barbie? Were you a tennis lady Barbie? Like what was did you have a favorite?
So my favorite one that I recall, there was a mermaid Barbie who had ridiculously long hair. Mm-hmm. And I was a big fan of styling this Barbie's hair. Yep. Until, of course, at one point, this Barbie's hair got incredibly and irreparably tangled. Mm-hmm. But until that point, She was great. And she had this beautiful gold glittery mermaid tail that 9-year-old Mandy really, really loved.
Oh.
There came a point, though, when I became psychologically damaged as a preteen and started watching horror movies, that I started just kind of beheading my Barbies.
Oh, yep.
So that was the last we saw of most of those.
Speaking of that turn, Alice, we had that happen over the weekend. So we've been watching Wednesday. Have you guys been seeing this? The show Wednesday?
No. It combines two things I don't like, which are Netflix and late period Tim Burton.
So no, Wednesday is an amazing, amazing show. We've been watching with the kids. Over the weekend, Alice, as a joke, pulled a knife and was just like pretending, just like Wednesday would in the show, like, I'm gonna get you. And we're like, less content. Like, we're no longer watching the show. Things have gotten darker out here. It's a butter knife. And she was joking, but I was like, what if you could have like taken eye out with that? So she's horrified and like never touching utensils ever again because she's like super like overwhelmed. But same for me. I also, with Barbies when I was younger, used them for hairstyling. I wanted to be a stylist when I was older. So all of my Barbies that I did have, I didn't have many, but the ones I did all had bobs. So they all had like, actually it's very modern now. It's like they were all like shaved up the sides, and then there was sort of like a mohawk situation on the top for all of my Barbies. So
I definitely had a few with interesting haircuts too.
you did. Tim, I know you can't identify probably. Did you have a Barbie, Tim?
I did not have a Barbie, Carrie.
I could see you having a Barbie,
I
but
did not have a Barbie.
alas not. And this didn't make your guys' lists either? No Barbie for you guys?
I don't trust Greta Gerwig. I don't think she makes good movies, to be blunt.
What? She did Lady Bird.
I don't like Lady Bird.
Well, that's just wrong then. The wrong opinion. Did she do Booksmart too?
No, but I don't like that either. But that's irrelevant.
Wasn't that Olivia Wilde?
That was Olivia Wilde.
Yeah. That's why it was garbage.
See, the minute that I see Olivia Wilde, I was proven right about. So I wait to be proven right about Greta Gerwig as well.
All right. Well, I'm excited. That's my number 2. Tim, to you.
Yes.
What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is based in my fundamental principle of cinema, which is that cinema is a medium for capturing what is real and turning it into something more than real. And what is real is that one day Tom Cruise is going to fucking die in front of a camera, and it's going to be the best movie ever made when that happens. Not going to be happening in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which opens on July 14th. Maybe in Part 2. There's still an opportunity for Tom Cruise to fucking die in front of a camera. But as long as Tom Cruise makes Mission Impossibles, and as long as the Mission Impossibles involve, like, hey, we, like, covered Tom Cruise in blood and threw him into a fucking shark pod off the coast of Australia, and we dragged him behind a boat, I'll keep watching the Mission Impossibles. And that's really all there is to it. Like, I know what this movie is going to be, and I know I'm going to love it, because it's Tom Cruise doing stunts. And that is, to me, that is cinema. Tom Cruise doing stunts. I don't need anything else.
Well, what is this? Which number? What is this?
I don't know. Is this 8, 7? I think it's 7.
Okay.
It's however many it is. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You don't need to know.
I don't need to know. I just need it to have, like, at some point the ad campaign is going to start up, and it's going to be like, here's, like, we put Tom Cruise in a fucking microwave with, like, his body wrapped in aluminum foil, and we saw what happened.
He survives. That's the key. He survives, and he always will.
And this is, again,
Rob will see this with you. I will stay at home with your cats.
The ontology of
kids
cinema is that it
because,
captures reality.
Alas,
and this is a real fucked up reality that I enjoy seeing.
I can't bring myself to see it.
Do you know that he broke his ankle for the last one on camera? He broke his ankle.
Every time that you talk about Mission Impossible, and that
because
I judge
he
you
broke his ankle.
Fly the plane. He actually. Do you know he's actually doing those things? It's like I could do it too. I could break my ankle. I could do
and
that
if you
easily.
broke your ankle on a camera and then continued walking and you were also Tom Cruise movie star, I would want to see you in that movie.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll consider it.
Okay.
The worth of it. Well, awesome. Well, let's head to a break. But before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. And a lot of you have been, which we appreciate so much through Patreon. By going through Patreon, you can get early access to exclusive content, make us watch a movie, pick your own episode topic, and more. Just like a billion people this month, which is just, again, thank you so much for joining our Patreon group. We have Caroline Bennett, Samla Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll pay you back. Somlin, Somlin W, Jacob Walters, Robert Brafford, Stephen Vendipier, and Alex Bow.
Can I give you
Hexapeel.
can I give you my trick, Carrie? Whenever I mispronounce a name and it's the name of like a not Western European culture, I always make a point, like when I'm taking roll, I always make a point of then mispronouncing like a very straightforward English name.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do it right here.
Like Steve Jones.
Oh, okay,
just to make myself seem a little bit less racist.
All right.
Because
So
academia's fun.
you know what I'll do is I'll cut that part out and then you'll know, but I won't let anyone know you gave me that tip. Are you ready? So Jeremiah Melthen, Thomas Feinmeyer.
That's exactly how you do it. That's exactly how you do it.
I'm going to do. Thank you, Thomas, for joining.
Mandy's dying right now.
Thank you for joining at the Emmy Award level.
Academia has broken you.
He's just stopped trying. This is the Emmy Award level. So many of you have probably been joining because Tim has released a new TV series. He's been reviewing Columbo episodes left and right.
And Batman episodes. And don't say left and right because I'm really behind schedule.
Oh, sorry. I just assumed you were on top of things.
No, not even slightly.
Why did I say? I keep trying to build you up and,
I am a catastrophe. I haven't slept in 3 weeks, Carrie.
Catastrophes. I haven't brushed my teeth today and it's 7 p.m. We're all falling apart. But you know who's not falling apart? Ryan Rebel, who also joined at the Razzie Award level. And finally, Benjamin Thurnstrom, who got the Palme d'Or. So get those responses in, Benjamin, on what you're looking for Tim to not talk about on this podcast. We adore you. Thank you so much for joining. Be on the lookout for that added content on Patreon. When we get back, we'll be going through the thing that we are absolutely most excited about to see in 2023. And we are back. I think all three of us are going to line up. I think we're going to have just sort of like the same movie because to me, there's really only one movie that could actually be chosen. So I'm excited for us to all just sort of like lean in on the count of three and say it.
I am almost 100% certain that is not going to happen.
I will die, Carrie, if you name my movie. I will drop dead. I will ascend to heaven, and I will be with God and the angels.
Oh, I'll call your mom. I will now. So, some way or another, I'm planning to kill you. Either way.
I think it is not impossible, though improbable, that Tim and I will line up.
It is highly improbable, but we shall
Like
see.
I said, not impossible. However, as you said, highly improbable. But okay, let us resolve the tension. So until about half an hour ago, when I was reading about movies being released in 2023, I had a different movie at my number one, and it was kind of a resignation choice. It was Renfield, and it was entirely because Nicolas Cage playing campy Dracula seems like a match made in heaven. But I'm not actually that excited for the rest of the movie, so I was sort of looking for something to knock it out of that spot. And
I'm curious that it jumped from number 1 to not higher than number 4 on your list.
It dropped from number 1 begrudgingly to not higher than number 4. Indeed.
Yes.
I kicked it off the list entirely after this.
I like that.
And so, the movie that has replaced it is a movie that I am going to have to find some way to see and do not yet know how I am going to see it, but by God am I going to find some way to see it. And that is a film called Abruptio.
Abruptio.
So let me tell you about this movie. This is this movie was filmed in 2018, 2019. It has to have been filmed before Sid Haig died, because this is going to be Sid Haig's chronological final film appearance prior to his death. This is an animated horror film starring puppets.
Okay.
I know very little about the plot. It contains Sid Haig, Robert Englund, Jordan Peele, James Marsters, and Christopher McDonald. And the only way you could get me more excited about that cast is if you put Keith David in it.
And is Keith David in it?
Keith David is not in it, alas. If if Keith David were in this movie and that were true in addition to everything else that I have just told you about it, I would have ascended to be with God and the angels upon hearing about it.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, this is an animated horror film starring puppets with those people in it. It has a somewhat Saw-like premise where there is a kind of like down on his luck guy who discovers that there is a bomb implanted in his neck, and in order to keep the bomb from going off, he has to basically do the bidding of whoever is controlling him in order to basically to be that thing or person or force's puppet. That is all I know about it, except that I am also very excited to see it now that I know that it exists.
Do you have any sense of when this movie is going to be in the world for us to watch?
It is going to premiere at the end of this month, and then it is going to get some limited release, and then I am going to figure out a way to see it, even if I have to move to Austin, Texas in order to do so.
Okay.
That seems like a lot of work to see this movie.
It does.
It sounds like a
And
movie
yet,
that I am excited for.
I think so. I am no matter what it was, I would be excited to see Sid Haig's final film appearance.
Yes.
But if it's going to be in an animated horror film with puppets, I am now even more excited to see it.
Especially, we are coming off of such a good year for puppet animation. Like, I feel really well disposed to this medium that I'm already well disposed to. So it doesn't count,
same.
but also. Okay.
Like, I was also already well disposed to it, but it's one of those things that you could undispose me towards. And given the volume of such animation that was released last year, it never happened. In fact, I'm even more excited about this than I would have been previously.
Yeah. Abruptio, you say.
Abruptio. Yes.
Okay.
I'd already forgotten. I was like, pleased. That box I mentioned earlier, where I was like, that box of sadness. I was like, well, Abruptio. That's going there. This is not.
What? This is not at the top of your list, Carrie?
About horror. It's just like everything that you guys are saying. I'm like, I can't imagine.
Yes, horror is everything. You are correct.
I watched so much of it, but I still am like, yeah, I'm going to watch the trailer on it just to double down and really give it a chance. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to look at it, and then I'll let you know. But right now, I haven't 100% added it to my list just
I
yet.
do not think it's possible that you're going to be as excited for this movie as I am.
No, and it wasn't my number one either, so I was wrong. So it's a double whammy. It was not number one.
Your number one wasn't Renfield, was it?
No. My number one, I already have cried during the trailer, which is no shock.
Good.
Not really a shock, but I'm hoping what I get out of my number one is the same reaction that I got when I saw Won't You Be My Neighbor, where I just really want, even if it's bad, which the documentary, about Mr. Rogers.
Won't You Be My Neighbor was the documentary. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood was the feature.
Yes. So the documentary, thank you. I had such an emotional reaction to that just because I was so happy to be spending time with Fred Rogers again. So like, even though I didn't think the documentary was great, I just wanted to I wanted more of him. I wanted to spend time with him. And I hope that that's the same exact feeling I have here, where even if this movie is bad, that I walk away with tears in my eyes and that I'm weeping and that my soul feels restored because I'm spending time with ultimately the love of my life. And I haven't gotten to see the love of my life for such a long time. And he's a little older, and he's maybe a little bit wrinklier and maybe a little less nimble, but Harrison Ford will always have the place in my heart, which is why I have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny as my number one.
I should have seen this coming from a mile away, and I can't believe that it didn't.
So should I have. And for a moment, I thought you were actually talking about Rob, and I thought this was going to be a pitch for Hauntology, and I was going to feel really bad because that hadn't even occurred to me.
Oh,
and it was going to be really sweet.
I promise Carrie is not anticipating Hauntology.
It could be a hit, but I watched the trailer for it. Number one, the trailer looks really, really pretty solid. It's also being directed by James Mangold, which is a shift, and he's done some stuff that I really liked. So he did, I liked Ford versus Ferrari. Not that that was like the best movie, but I did like that movie. But he also did another movie that I really liked, Logan. He's the guy that did Logan. So if it has like some of those, the tone of Logan, like Logan, just I really love the vibe of that. I'm just really hoping he can pull it together. So there's that. But then I'll tell you where the tears started. So you're seeing Harrison Ford. I'm already just sort of like, oh, rapid heart. My heart's racing and whatever. He's looking really nimble, like he's just like jumping around.
Is that the word you care to use to describe the way Harrison Ford looks in that trailer?
He did. He did. He was whipping things around with his whip. I was just like, you use that whip, man. And he was just, oh, there's a spot where he has to like drop to his knees really quick. It just looks like they've pulled like a trap door out from him under him. He just sort of like slips down because he's ducking from gunfire. The whole thing is going to work for me, however they do it. But then there's like this back shot where you can see Harrison Ford and he's talking to somebody. And it's his old friend. And it is Salah. Is there. So they've recast back in, is it John Rhys Davies?
John Rhys Davies.
Is back in this movie. And that's where I was just like, like if I'm going to get to see and they're going to play on my nostalgia heartstrings, take my wallet, take all my money, take everything. And I'm just hoping that it's like a time machine where I go back and I just get to spend some time with simpler times. That's my goal. Not yours, Tim.
That is so sincere. I'm not even going to say anything mean about you, Carrie. That was heartfelt.
I genuinely am excited, and there's like so it's.
I'm going to have to get high to watch this movie to dull the pain I expect to feel from watching it.
It's Mads Mikkelsen, Tim. There's people in it, and Antonio Banderas. You loved him.
Oh yeah, he's never been in a bad movie.
He's never been. Phoebe Waller.
It's at minimum going to be really nice to look at, is what you're saying.
Possibly, but also Phoebe Waller-Bridges from Fleabag is in this. She's awesome. Toby Jones, I don't know. I don't actually know any of these other people, but
you know who Toby Jones is. You've seen Toby Jones.
Oh, I know who he is. I meant the people after that I'm not really familiar with, but I think it could be a special one. So I'm hoping it is. And I'm just gonna like probably print out the poster because he actually looks pretty smoking in the poster. They've got enough like shadows and stuff that it kind of just looks like the old indie. So that is my number one. Cannot wait. It comes out June 30th. So whoever wants to come to my house and carpool, I will drive. We will all go together to the theater to see it. That's my plan. Okay. Anyone listening, come to my house.
Glad you said that in. Can you give everyone your address, Carrie? As long as we're on the podcast.
It'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
Also, we'll go together and hug.
You can put it on the same Post-it where you put your PIN number and your passwords.
Exactly.
That's my plan. So we'll see it together. Tim, I knew it wouldn't be your number one probably, but I held out hope. What weird ass movie do you have at your number one?
So I am playing a dangerous game. It is, moreover, a dangerous game that I've played before on this podcast and lost. And that is I'm going to put a film without a confirmed release date on my most anticipated list. And I'm being even sassier this time because the movie's not done. And the movie has been maybe coming out in 2021 and maybe coming out in 2022. And I think they've upped it to probably coming out in 2023. So I feel like the wins are behind me. I feel good about this. Now that's the first part. It might not be coming out this year whatsoever. It might also not be coming out this year in the United States, even if it does come out elsewhere in the world. But if there's even a glimmer of a possibility that in the year of our Lord 2023, I get to see the newest and almost certainly the final film by Hayao Miyazaki, I am going to put that film on the top of my list. How Do You Live, the last film, probably, certainly the newest film by Miyazaki, the greatest director in the history of animation, ? They're currently saying it's coming out on July 14th. That is a date that has been attached to it. I don't know if I believe it. I want to believe it. I want to believe it's coming out on July 14th in Japan. And they're not going to dawdle. They're not going to like make us wait a year to see the new Miyazaki. But they might. But they might not. I'm living in faith.
What's the title again?
How Do You Live?
How Do You Live?
How Do You Live?
And is it about anything?
I assume so.
Okay.
I do not assume so necessarily.
I believe it's about a 15-year-old boy sort of learning more about the world around him through the power of art.
That is true. So it says the film depicts the psychological growth of a teenage boy through interactions with his friends and uncle.
Okay.
That seems very benign, and it could be lovely, and maybe I'll enjoy it.
Here, do you know who Miyazaki is, Carrie?
You know, I'd love to say that I do.
He's made so many of your favorites. What?
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, Porco Rosso, Howl's Moving Castle, all your favorites.
All my favorites. So, Tim,
He made Ponyo, too, didn't he? Carrie liked that one.
Ponyo. I did like Ponyo. He was cute. That little fish. Yeah.
Ponyo's a girl.
Did I say? I think I said that little fish.
You said he was cute.
Oh, you're right. I did. Gosh, always fact checking me. So the other day.
Well, I was reminded that you don't like Totoro, so I'm feeling ill disposed towards you right now.
I'm gonna warm you up. I'm gonna butter you up a little bit. Watch this. So somewhere in our genetic line, things are going better than they are for me, because the other day I was talking to Abby and we were just talking about movies, and she was like, I watched a anime film today at school, and I was like, oh really? She was like, yeah, we watched Spirited Away, and I was like, oh wow, really? And she was like, yeah, and she was really like peppy, and I'm like, oh well, what did you think? And she was like, it's excellent, it's really good. And I was like, what are you even saying? Like, who are you even? Whatever. I was like, what about the thing where like the parents turn into pigs and it's so weird and it makes no sense? She's like, well, it does make sense because what's happening and blah blah blah. And she went into this whole thing about the metaphor of the pigs and whatever. And I was just like, I don't even know who you are.
You know how children, when they start to reach a certain age, and she's 11 now, correct?
Yeah.
So she's getting to that point where she's ready to start breaking away from mom and dad, start making her own identity, start, kind of pushing against the rules a little bit. So how kids always reject their parents' taste in art?
Yes.
And form sort of the opposite of their parents' taste in art. I've never been happier than in this moment that you and Rob have fucking awful taste in movies, because it means that your children are going to have great taste. And they can become my podcast hosts in a few years.
There's going to be a merge. Emma's going to come in. She's going to know what you guys are talking about when I glaze over, and I'm like, what are they even saying? And it's going to be amazing. You'll have a different perspective from a different age, different generation. But she did love it, and I smiled because I thought of you. I was like, oh, frickin' Tim would be like just laughing at her response to it, being like, oh, yeah, I get it. As an 11.
I don't want to over respond to this by being like, ooh, let me and Abby hang out and I'll give her a list of 40 anime films she needs to see next. I don't want to do that.
She would.
No, because then you'll become the parent that she rebels against.
That's a good point. What if I'm cool Uncle Tim?
That's true. That's absolutely.
What if she's like, cool Uncle Tim's a PhD at UW-Madison? What if I become a PhD at UW-Madison?
No, do not let your daughter go into academia.
Do not do that. I promise that you should not do that.
I don't think that will happen for her. But nevertheless, great picks. I might actually see that. But that is.
I will say the same thing in response to both of your number ones, which is that I hope they are good for you. And given what they are, I suspect that regardless of how good anybody else thinks they are, they will be good for you. I feel like you both have picked foolproof these cannot let you down movies.
I mean, to be fair, no matter how bad Miyazaki's film is, it will be above 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It cannot be bad enough to not be.
It's true.
That is true. Well, what I would like to do is we'll put a pin in these movies. Everyone's listening. Go out, see these when they come out, maybe if they appeal to you. But I do think we have to do we'll do a retrospective. We'll come back. We'll talk about this later in the summer. I think most of our films come out by midsummer. I think.
I mean,
I don't think anybody picked anything late year.
Mine is a question mark whether it is going to exist in the world by the end of the calendar year. But otherwise, I think everything comes out by the end of July.
All right. Well, we will see. TBD. But thanks for getting together, guys, to talk movies. This was an amazing diversion.
I still have something I need to talk about.
That's right, you do. You were going to plug our site, Carrie.
Yes.
Our website.
Our site was going to get a plug.
Exactly. So I'm going to pass it to you, Mandy. That's exactly what I was about to do. I was going to be like, in closing, wait. not. We're going to Mandy right now. We could never close. Mandy, tell us the cool, interesting, amazing thing that you have coming for us.
Well, I don't know what the cool, interesting, amazing thing that I have coming for you is, but the thing that I'm working on right now. So every so often I write things for these people, and most of those things are about terrible, wretched movies that I have brought it upon myself to watch. But in being the official Golden Raspberries expert of the alternate ending community, I came up with an idea. And the idea was that we should get on the train of having a stupid, fake, meaningless awards ceremony. Except that the thing that I wanted to celebrate in our stupid, fake, meaningless awards ceremony was the good things in bad movies. Because so often, especially when you have an enjoyable bad movie, as opposed to just a wretched bad movie, the thing that makes it really enjoyable is just some aspect, or a few different aspects, where someone or something has overcommitted to this project really, really hard. And those people and those things deserve to be honored, is my feeling. So I have launched the first annual, hopefully not just only, Golden Spoon Awards, named for the famous stock photo spoons in the great bad movie, The Room. And the point of these is that unlike the Razzies, which are basically just about being really nasty to the worst films of the year, this is about celebrating the worst films of the year. And it's about celebrating the beautiful parts of the worst films of the year. So instead of, for example, the worst actor category, we have the best actor in a bad movie category, where the rule is that this must be an excellent performance, but it must also be in a movie that sucked.
Okay.
So yes, there are also categories such as best bad movie, which is most overall enjoyable bad movie experience, best director of a bad movie, where the director is trying really, really hard to get work again in the future, even though they know they are attached to a horrible project. Best Bad Screenplay, which is the one that we're going to be quoting long after we have ceased to remember all of this year's Oscar nominees, and things like that. Now, in order... Yes.
That sounds awesome.
Thank you.
How can we take part?
Yeah.
Indeed. So, in order for this to work, I in fact need people to take part, because I need people to nominate films. So if you have a bad movie that you would like to nominate for Golden Spoon Awards, or multiple bad movies that you would like to nominate for Golden Spoon Awards, you should go to alternateending.com. You can find the Golden Spoon Awards post in the features section, or perhaps we could link to it in the show notes even, and make things super easy for everybody. And you can find the form through which to submit your nominations there. I really need people to do this, because right now most of the people who have voted for or who have nominated films are from the alternate ending Discord. And alternate ending Discord weirdos, I love you. You are my people. But it's going to be a very strange and skewed set of nominees if you are the only ones who have voted for it. So the rest of you out there in listener land, you should go and participate, which you can do so via a link that these lovely people will be making accessible to you.
I will take it, and I will level things out for you. I will go in there, and
Thank you.
I guarantee you will pick things that have not been picked yet and add those in there as well. Even as you were saying all of those, my mind had already started to race of like movies that would actually fit those qualifications. So Tim and I will noodle on it, and we will
Absolutely.
also as well.
No,
so
fun idea, and very positive, upbeat idea. I like that. It
Thank
is
you.
celebratory,
Yes.
and not what I do.
Indeed.
This is what I wish for my brand to be. I want to be the one who loves things that other people hate, as opposed to the other way around.
I mean, it's been working out for me, but I appreciate that not everybody
yes.
not everyone can follow that path.
I don't want to steal your beat, Tim. That just wouldn't. That, for one thing, I'd be setting myself up for failure.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. You guys, I think that sounds awesome. Thank you so
Also, you have until January 31st to vote. So
Yes.
This is a cutoff time. Okay.
yes.
Cool.
So prior to January 1st, January 31st, not in the past, get your nominations in. Thank you.
Deal. And that is the best way to close things out on something that's cool and positive and awesome and that you can go out and do and participate in. So in addition to that, thank you guys for getting together. Thanks for chatting. You as a listener can go out on our social media pages. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, alternateending.com. Go fill out that form like Mandy was just talking about with your movies, all of those things to follow us and to play along. So other than that, we hope you have a great week and we'll catch you next time.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.